All right. So, another one of the Road to 240 workouts, this time from my garage, and this time I'm on my bike. Not gonna go anything crazy today. Gonna keep it relatively light. No more than half an hour. Yeah, no more than half an hour on here. So, basically steady state training, zone two, if you will. Um, so I'm just, like usual, say what's on my mind, how things are going right now. As of this recording, it is June 17th. I pretty much have 4 months to try to achieve 240 before before my birthday, or at least October 24. October 24 is my deadline to try to hit 240 for the pro cat. Training so far has been actually pretty good up until about a week and a half ago. Pulled my hip flexor. I was racing my son, my 13-year-old son, in the 100 meters. So I was he's been running really well this year in track, especially with his school team. All right, it's gonna get a little bit loud in here. Hopefully, I'm gonna be louder than the garbage truck that's about to pull through. But yeah, no, my son's been pretty much ripping it up on the track. So I was really curious how I'd fare against him in 100 meters. And just based off what I've seen him run this year, I knew he was going to run faster than me. I was pretty much expecting him to run faster than me, and he did. He beat me in the 100 meters, but it wasn't even close. I was hoping to try to make it close. There's at least a 2 meter gap between me and him in the 100. I'm pretty sure anything up until the 400 meters, he'd be whooping my ass. Pretty sure I still got him beat on the endurance front though. But speed wise, boy, my son can. My son's got some speed. But honestly, I don't mind that he's beating me. I want him to be better than me. So pretty cool to see him at 13 beat his old man. But in the process of doing so, I ended up pulling my left hip flexor, trying to keep up with him. So that was about a week and a half ago. I was hoping about a few days would do it good, even a week. Still having some issues with it. I could do some easy runs, but I'm constantly thinking about my technique more than I want to when I'm running. So, and I'm on the bike now. I mean, this is I got no issues with my hip flexor right now. Well, maybe I can feel it a tinge, but I got no issues with my hip flexor right now on the bike. And I've been on the Airdyne at the gym as well. So until I see a physio, this is where I'm going to have to get my conditioning in now. Is on the bike or on the Airdyne. I haven't actually been on this bike in a while, to be honest. Whether indoors like this or outside on the road, it's kind of nice being on the bike again. But I've had this bike for almost it's been 18 years now. So 2007 was when I first bought this bike, and it served me well. I've literally traveled around the world with this thing. Been racing. Actually, no, I didn't have this bike with me in Switzerland. I did have this bike with me in Australia back when I was still doing a lot of triathlon races. So, no, I was never elite level at any point really, with whether that be running or triathlons or any sport I did. I wouldn't consider myself elite level. but I definitely consider myself a competitive athlete. So within my age group, I was pretty competitive. In terms of local races, I was usually getting top 5, top 10 finishes in my age group. At least when it came to triathlons. So yeah, I was holding my own, but I was never truly elite. I mean, my best 5K time, I think it was 17:12, something like that. And then my best 10K time was just under 35. It's like 34:58, 34:59, something like that. And you compare that to the elite level. I mean, when you look at just even at the college level for something like a 5K, those guys are what, 13, 14 minutes, something like that, for the 5K, and then 10K, they're typically around 29. Again, I'm talking college level. If you're really looking at the elites are like 26, 27 minutes for a 10K, right? And 12 and a half, high 12s, low 13s. So those, again, never elite, but as an age grouper, I would say I held my own. It's going to get hot in this garage, even with the door open. The heart rate is probably not going to be the best gauge in terms of effort level. And really, you don't always want to rely on heart rate to gauge on effort level. Uh, if we're talking about trying to keep things light, doing something like I'm doing right now, actually, this is part of why I'm talking and making videos while I do workouts like these. Obviously, for viewing experiences, probably low. And heck, if I look at the last few YouTube uploads I've had with me doing these talks, viewing is usually low. So if you are sticking with me all the way through at this point, thank you. But I'm putting this more together for myself. Get my thoughts out, keep my effort level regulated, and I'm trying to keep things. I'm not looking at pushing. Doing a talk test is a way to keep yourself in check, right? Rather than just relying solely on heart rate, because heart rate's going to be affected by a lot of factors. Obviously, there's the effort level, but your hydration can affect you. The weather outside can affect you if it's hot or cold. Your sleep, maybe not so much the night before, but the many nights leading up to the workout, that can have an effect on your heart rate level. General stress, if you're high stress, that's going to have heart rate up. So heart rate can be useful, but you don't necessarily want to rely entirely on it, right? And that just gets me thinking about training in terms of when you're making or trying to make progress with your fitness. It's not always going to be on the up and up, right? Like, you're not always going to have from one workout to the next. It's not always going to be leaps going upwards. Every so often, you're going to have some workouts where you feel like you're sliding backwards, and that's to be expected, right? I like to say, out of every 10 workouts, 1 or 2 are going to be amazing. You feel like you're on top of the world, everything's going well. 1 or 2 of them are just going to be utter shit. And then you got everything else in between, right? So when you have those one-off workouts, whether it's really great or really crappy, it's not a sign of your fitness in either direction. Really, it's just an indicator of how things are going for that day and the days leading up to that workout. So when you have performances that seemingly seem like you're sliding backwards, put things into context. Look at what's your sleep like leading up to that workout. Are you getting your 7 to 9 hours? Is it quality sleep? What's your hydration? What's stress? Right? If maybe you're at work and there's a major project you're working on, and there's a deadline to get it done, that's going to be high stress. That's going to affect performance as well. If you're a student, maybe during finals, that's going to have an effect on your performance too, right? So one-off workouts where things are going great or things are going bad is not an indicator of your fitness. It's just an indicator of what's going on in your life at that point, right? Now, if there is a trend of, in terms of bad workouts, if there is a trend of things looking like they're sliding backwards, okay, yeah, then maybe start looking at what needs to change. Whether it's the workouts themselves, or just the kind of recovery you're trying to do in between. It's the trends you want to look for, not the one-offs, which is why it's important to always keep track of your workouts. Have some key measurements that you're looking for. And again, look at those trends. So this as an example. It's been a while since I've been on the bike. So whatever metrics I'm going to use for this one, which actually honestly, this is more about just kind of getting work done. But let's just say if I were keeping some metrics from today's workout, I'd look at what is my heart rate. And unfortunately, the speedometer doesn't work with the back wheel, so I can't really measure speed and distance or anything. But let's just say you are on a bike where you can measure speed and distance. I would take that from this workout, and when the next time I'm on here, I'll use that as my baseline to compare it to, right? And so when you're training, keep a log of everything you do. Don't just go based on feeling, right? Especially when you're trying to do conditioning workouts. I think it's intuitive when lifting, because you can see things, right? You can see, oh, I'm lifting 100 pounds. I did this many reps. And last week I did 80 pounds for this many reps, or whatever the case may be. Strength training is kind of, in a way, kind of easier to track. But it doesn't mean don't do that for your conditioning workouts, right? So when it comes to your conditioning workouts, your cardio workouts, if you're doing something like steady state training, I'll just use myself as an example. When I'm out for my runs, I'm paying attention, obviously, to the time. So let's say 30 minutes. What's the distance I'm running? What's the pace? And my average heart rate. So those 4 things. Those are the ones I pay attention to. And for the most part, I'm running the same route every single time. But just because I'm running the same route every single time, I'm not trying to run it as fast as possible. If I happen to be running fast, great. Just let my body run fast. If I happen to be running slow, all right, I'm running slow. But at least it's on the same route, so I can make comparisons to my training at that point. And this kind of brings up another point in terms of workouts that you do. You don't have to do a different workout every single time you train. In fact, I wouldn't recommend that at all. Maybe variations of the workout that you're doing, but it's not as if you're doing a wholesale change. Then that way, if you're doing, let's just use interval training as an example. So if you've seen some of my previous videos of me talking, I've been on the Airdyne bike, and the ones I've been doing on the Airdyne is interval training. I'll do 2 minutes on of work, followed by a minute rest. Hey, I'm just talking my way of keeping myself in check with effort level. That's all right. Okay. I mean, I'm going to post this on YouTube. Honestly, I don't know how many people watch this all the way through. I'm what, 15 minutes in? Okay. Oh, now I lost my train of thought. What's up? You know, I bet you that was Jonathan. Well, I mean, garbage will be next week. And it's not as if we fill the recycling box all that much anyway, so should be fine. I know. It's fine. All right, see if I can remember my train. Oh, I think I was talking about intervals. So last few videos, if you could just go back on the ones I posted in regards to me working out, I doing intervals on the Airdyne, doing 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. And for that, what I'm paying attention to in terms of the metrics that I'm trying to measure is my speed from one set to the next, to the next, to the next. And when I'm doing 2 minutes on, my goal is around 24 or so. And I think the Airdyne measures in miles an hour, so I'm trying to do 24 miles an hour for each set. And as I'm progressing throughout the workout, I'm trying to push it a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And then during the 1 minute off, the recovery in between, I just don't want my speed to drop below 20. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly what you gotta do, I'm just giving you my thought process. Open up a little more, like halfway. Yeah, thank you. The idea is I'm tracking something, right? So let's just use another interval example. We'll use 1 lap of a track, 400 meters. And let's just say you're doing 6 sets of that. And we'll, for argument's sake, say you're taking 3 minutes of rest in between each one. So you run 400, time yourself. What do you get? Just to keep things simple, we'll make the math 2 minutes. You run it, the first one, 2 minutes. You recover for 3 minutes, and then you run again, another 400 meters. And see, are you hitting 2 minutes? Or maybe you're a little bit slower, maybe you're a little bit faster, but you're there and about around 2 minutes, give or take a second or two. So then, same thing again. Next one, try to do around the same time, and as you get towards the end of the workout, you try to push it a little bit more. And so next week, when you do that same workout, now that you got a baseline to work off of, all right, keep the rest time the same, 3 minutes between sets, but how much more can you push it? Now maybe you still start off 2 minutes for that first one. Maybe the second one is around 2 minutes. But perhaps instead of waiting for the last set, the last couple sets, to try to push it a little bit more, maybe try a bit sooner, right? Depending on how things are feeling. But you have something to work off of. You have prior workout to look at and be like, okay, this is what I did last time. Let's see if I can do thereabouts the same on this next workout. And if I can, see how much more I can push it. You push a little more and a little more and a little more. Now, you try, there's a certain point where you can only go so fast. So maybe add another set. Or maybe you reduce the rest between intervals. But for the most part, you're still running 400 meter intervals for the workouts, right? So it's the same workout for the most part, with just little changes here and there from 1 week to the next, to the next, to the next. But you're also keeping track of what you're doing so that you make sure that you're always having some kind of forward progress, right? So track everything that you do, especially cardio training. Cardio training, it's not about just go as hard as possible. You don't want to feel like you're dead every single time after a cardio session, after a conditioning session. You always want to push it, yes, but there should always be something left in the tank afterwards, because your training, your progress is going to come from the recovery you have between workouts, not in the workout itself. And if all your workout is, for the most part, 100% max effort, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. It's going to take longer to recover from max effort workouts. Let's just, as an example, let's just say you're running a mile and a half as fast as you can on a Monday. And then maybe on the Tuesday, same thing, you try to do the same thing. Fast as you can, mile and a half. Wednesday, same thing, fast as you can, mile and a half. But you're just going to get more and more tired, and you're not recovering well enough from the previous day, which means performance is always going to continually suffer. That means, let's just say Wednesday's the last one you do a hard one, but you need to recover. Depending on your fitness level, it might take several days of recovery before you can do another max effort. So let's just say Wednesday's the last one you do a hard one, and then you don't work out again doing your conditioning work until the following Monday. I mean, that's 4 days off in between. Within that week, let's just say if you were to train every single day, the only hard one would have been that mile and a half on Monday. On Tuesday, something a little bit lighter, a little bit easier. Wednesday, you can do intervals, but there's still something left in the tank at the end of the workout. And then maybe Thursday's a break, Friday is another interval, maybe Saturday is an easier run. You've just put in 5 days, I think it's, yeah, call it 5 days of work there compared to 3 days of work, right? And you're probably even in those 5 days able to accumulate more work done in the overall mileage that you run compared to just 3 days max effort of mile and a half. So it's not the workout in and of itself that's going to determine the kind of progress you're going to make in your fitness, whether it's conditioning or strength. It's the same thing will go with strength. Strength training, you're not trying to do 1 rep max lifts every day of the week. So every once in a while, you'll do 1 rep max lifts. What's important is developing consistency with the training, making sure that you're recovering well between workouts. Because it's in the recovery that your body actually gets better, not in the hard workouts itself. All right, see where my heart rate's here, just out of curiosity. On the high side, it's over 170. I'm still able to talk for the most part. This goes back to what I was talking about earlier in the video, is you don't always want to use heart rate as an indicator of how hard to go. Talk test is a better indicator of effort level, usually. Anyway, I'd say more, let's just say more often than not, talk test is a better way to go. But yeah, right now it's over 170, but I am, like I mentioned earlier, I'm in my garage, a little bit hotter. I don't have a fan on me to cool me off. And so I'm sweating a lot. And when I sweat a lot, that means there's less water in my blood. If there's less water in my blood, I mean, it's not sludge, but just to use an analogy, it's like there's sludge being pumped from my body. And sludge is a lot harder to push around versus something that's a lot more liquid. Yeah, heart rate's definitely higher than it normally would be. And usually on the bike, if I'm comparing effort level to the run, usually on the bike, it's a little bit less by comparison, because really the only thing that's moving are my legs. Whereas running, I got my upper body involved. It's more of a little bit more of a full body effort, versus bike, predominantly legs. So for me, my And I measure myself around 170 beats a minute roughly. That's just more so the heat in here, and I don't think I've been drinking enough water today either. So again, other factors that's going to come into play in terms of heart rate. So yeah, it's good to know where your heart rate's at, but don't rely on it. I just realized I haven't really drank water all that much throughout this particular workout, so now normally I have my heart rate monitor on me. Today I don't, but if I do measure my heart rate during a ride like this, oftentimes I'll either place my hand on my chest because I can feel my heart beating there quite well, or I'll use the pulse on the wrist. You could use the neck. I just find it more comfortable to do this on the chest or the wrist. And so what I'll do is I'll count for either for 6 seconds or for 10 seconds or for 15 seconds. And then I multiply that number. And I always start to count with 0 rather than right at 1. There's a reason for that, which I'm starting to forget why, but there's a reason for that. Particularly if you're only going to count for 6 seconds. So what I did just moments ago, took my beat for 6 seconds, multiplied by that by 10. If I took it for 10 seconds, I'd multiply it by 6. If I took it for 15 seconds, I'd multiply it by 4. I usually don't go beyond 15, but if I want somewhat more accuracy, I'll do it up to 15. Because if I go up to 6, let's just say I count 15, well, it's 150. There's much more range to it than that. Whereas if I counted up to 15 seconds, and let's just say I counted 30, that's 120 beats per minute, and there's more range I can work around either, right? Because let's just say I counted 31, that's 144, or sorry, 124 at that point. Am I doing the math right? I think I'm doing the math right. I just got over 2 minutes to go here on the workout. I did get a strength workout in earlier. Had to be a quick one though, modified it. I did over at Redline. Did some testing earlier today, but by the time I got to Redline, I only had about 20 minutes to get it done. So I ended up doing a tri-set of deadlifts, push-ups, and pull-ups. He ended up with 5 main sets of the deadlift at 240 pounds. I use the trap bar now. It's just a lot easier on my back these days. So it allows me to lift heavy without putting too much undue stress on my low back. If I didn't have the trap bar, I only had straight bar, the Olympic bar, then I'd be going with the sumo deadlift. I find one allows me to lift heavier, but it's also just like the trap bar, less on my low back. Conventional deadlift, yeah, I find I put a bit more strain on my low back as I start to get heavy. So I find the variation that works for me. It still allows me to pick up heavy, and I love deadlifts. So I did deadlifts, I did push-ups, I did pull-ups. For the first couple sets of the push-ups and pull-ups, just body weight only. And then I put a vest on, a 20-pound vest for the push-ups, and then same thing for the pull-ups. Yeah. My cardio over the next bit, whether I'm going easy, whether I'm doing intervals, it's going to either be on my steed here, my Cervelo, the one I've used for all my triathlons, or it's going to be on the Airdyne at Redline until I see a physio and I can get this sorted. All right, that's it. Yeah, so I'm between 170, 170 and 180 for my heart rate. But I was able to talk all throughout quite well. So usually 170, 180 beats per minute means I'm kind of pushing the pace, but I mean, I wasn't pushing the pace today. But again, in the garage, that's on the hot side. I haven't been hydrated all that well today. So if you enjoyed this video, please let me know. Drop a comment below. Any questions, again, drop a comment below. You can also reach me directly by email at mark@rlconditioning.ca, and that's Mark, MARC, at rlconditioning.ca. Until next time.